last video, I shared how student-driven research works. In this video, I will highlight the key components of this method and share some of my own examples. First, providing students with constructive feedback is key. Just as students will practice their questioning skills, this is an opportunity for you to develop your responses. Remember, the goal of your feedback is to help students build good scientific questions. Encourage questioning. It's fine for you to say, "I don't know," or "Why don't we look at this together?" That being said, it's crucial to let the students lead. It's easy to just take over and show them how to find answers, but it's so important to resist this impulse. Give them feedback that helps them move forward and lets them experience both the creativity and the mistakes. A while back, a group of students I worked with had this idea to make a diamond. We discussed how they could take their idea and turn it into a question. Their first question was, how big of a diamond can we make? And then we talked about some of the constraints that scientists face, and they agreed we didn't actually have the resources to make a diamond. Instead of giving up, we talked about carbon, the element that diamonds are made from, and the students learned that trees had carbon. In the beginning, these clever students thought that they might get out of doing a project by asking something that was impossible. Instead, they ended up with a phenomenal project that required a lot of math and measurements. They decided to ask what size diamond could be made from a tree, and then they calculated the amount of carbon in the tree and determined what size diamond they could hypothetically make. By saying yes when students are really into an idea, mentors empower students to direct their own learning. The second component I will highlight is to ensure that students are in the lead and that they feel in charge of their project. In my experience, student-led projects are far more impactful than teacher-driven instruction. A great example of this is when I was mentoring a group of high school students in a meadow right after a forest fire. There was ash everywhere, and one group was curious about the amount of ash that had fallen. Another group wondered how the ash might affect the pH of the soil or the water. The students were so excited to answer their questions that they didn't even consider the tedious nature of this project. What surprised me the most is that when we were collecting the ash, the students kept looking over at me to make sure that I was being careful not to miss any. We were literally picking up tiny pieces of ash with tweezers and putting them in little baggies for hours on end. If I had assigned this work to the students, they would have found it extremely boring and probably avoided it altogether. But because it was their project and they took complete ownership, they were concerned with the quality of my work. That is the beauty of a student-created project. They want to test their ideas, and once they invest in them, they want their projects to be great. These hands-on experiences promote knowledge retention. Recently, one of the students from the ASH project shared that even though the project had been almost 6 years ago, they remembered the details of the pH and the ash in the soil. The last component is to make sure not to prejudge any of your students. I have seen so many students who didn't like science before this experience and completely changed their minds and their behaviors. A teacher once said to me, "I struggle to get this kid to ever do anything in class, but he brought in materials from home to help make an insect trap. And it turns out that he got so into the project that he took the lead and helped the other kids count and identify their insects as well as his own." And then the student told me, if this is what science is, then I actually love science. Student-driven research is easily adaptable to different age groups. I've successfully taught these programs to students in grades 5 to 12. Projects can last for days, weeks, or even months. It's your choice. Student-driven research creates a natural environment for differentiated learning. Some students may develop a really simple project, and others may want to include multiple variables. As you will discover, students who are inspired and excited will take their projects to levels you wouldn't have imagined. I believe that student-driven research is the way we should experience science. Good luck and have fun.